stop ordering Uber Eats.
And having a Starbucks every morning. You may never be able to get the house you want. The lower price homes obviously are hopping.
We have a lot of new construction happening that can be a recipe for disaster for the whole thing to implode.
But it's worth having the conversation.
Oh, I really want to buy a house. I do really well financially.
Let me pull a crystal ball out.
Entry-level home on the west side, single family, at least $500,000.
Market changes.
It's the most affordable time for a buyer right now to purchase.
Give me a good reason why.
Wait, how much is your car payment?
And that's a significant number. Like, where's the logic in that?
Those are all really good topics. I think we all would like to know.
Hi there. Welcome to another installment of the Ask Ella Show. And today with me, I'm so happy to introduce Rochelle Peralta with Fox Real Estate, part of Keller Williams in Portland. She's actually in Scottsdale at the moment, so we're live in the studio. And Rochelle is a great friend, a great referral partner. I am incredibly not worthy because she is an amazing agent, but also she's a marathon runner.
Oh my goodness, Ella, that is so sweet. Those are such kind words. And yes, this was a very unexpected, impromptu kind of get it together, but it just made sense.
Totally.
Yeah, when in Scottsdale, got to talk real estate with Ella.
Exactly, you got to do it. And we're going to talk about the Portland real estate market today because that's really where the business has been for us. And we're going to talk about what's happening, what's hopping, what's not, and what's causing the hopping and the not.
Those are all really good topics. I think we all would like to know.
So what I'm seeing a lot still in Portland is the lower price homes obviously are hopping with multiple offers and with basically a line around the corner and then some. And they're still very hard to come by. So what is the lowest price point somebody can possibly count on getting on the entry level? If it's a single family home, that is. We're not talking condos at the moment. But what can somebody hope for in the entry level homes, and where are those entry level homes?
So for me, my business is all over the Portland metro, but primarily on the west side. So I would say...
Okay, let's talk west side.
West side, yeah. So entry-level home on the west side, single family, you are looking at least $500,000, and that would be in certain parts of Beaverton. If you want to be in Tualatin, Tigard, we're talking more $575,000, $600,000.
Yikes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that. It's a very competitive space. I think we're seeing a lot of folks still in those multiple offer situations for the first time home buyer. We have a lot of new construction happening. Even at that price point, you're looking more at attached homes
that are not very big.
No, without a yard. They have the kind of the planned community, which is great. You know, they have the dog park and place for the kids to play. Usually your garage is on the back side of the home. It just doesn't allow for a ton of personal space. And I feel like a lot of people who have been renting so long, say an apartment, they're really excited to get into a home with a yard and
a little privacy.
And privacy.
All right. Good to know. I mean, I'm still seeing with some of my clients in the 400s, probably towards the higher side of 400s, but they are really a little further out typically. We're talking outskirts of Beaverton, Aloha, maybe into Hillsborough, but they're so few and far between. It's really hard to compete on those. And the flip side of it, too, is with a lot of those homes, what I'm also seeing is those homes falling out on inspections because the lower price points also come with strings attached.
They do. That's why it's so important to have, a really good team on your side, like you, good agent. Thank you.
An inspector.
Yes, the inspector that's really going to get in there. But I feel like even just the agent on the other side, the listing agent and the buyer's agent really need to collaborate on making goals happen for each of their clients, especially if there are issues on the home. The great thing about that is there's usually a fix. I mean, there's fixes for everything.
There is always a fix, exactly, if all parties want to do it. And that's where the collaboration is so important. And that's actually one of the pieces that I talk about constantly in my video content, whether it's on the podcast, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or LinkedIn, is this collaboration piece that you and I have run into where the other side just doesn't want to play ball. Kind of, and real estate is never all take. There's got to be a give.
Yeah. It's definitely a team effort for sure. And besides maybe having one party that doesn't want to give, there's also, I think the average real estate agent did maybe 2 transactions last year.
Ouch.
Yeah, nationwide.
Ouch.
And I feel like as a consumer, checking reviews, Google reviews, Zillow reviews, even asking your agent, like, how many transactions have you done? How many did you do last year? Because that experience is really going to come into play when it comes down to those pieces of like negotiating repairs and credits. Because if you get an agent on the other side that really has no experience, that can be a recipe for disaster for the whole thing to implode.
It absolutely can be. And I can tell horror stories about that. And I'm sure you can as well, because experience does matter. And even though it can feel like it's riding a bike, it really is not. It's everything changes. The rules change. The regulations change. The market changes. So there is so much that goes on that if you're not living it and breathing it, that you can miss out on.
Absolutely.
And that can cause an absolute disaster as a result.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the buyer exclusive agreement that they put into place, the NAR did, I can't believe it'll be 2 years this August.
Insane. Seems like yesterday.
Yes. And I think that the goal was essentially for, perhaps buyers to pay their own agent commission and sellers not to do that any longer.
But how many buyers can actually do that out of pocket?
Exactly. It just increases the price of the home that much more. What we're actually seeing is a reverse effect is the buyer agent commission actually has gone up since that went into effect.
Go figure.
Go figure. But I really think it's, in a way, it was good for the industry because it just sets really clear expectations from the very get-go. I know for my business, those pieces, those elements of the transactions were always stated up front with the seller and the buyer. So it really didn't change much except for having that actual piece of paper.
I think it evened the playing field actually quite a bit, because if before a buyer could hop agents or could work with 10 different agents to go look at different properties, now having to sign that agreement, I'm not saying that it necessarily ties the buyer into the agent or creates loyalty, because nothing can create loyalty in people who are not loyal by nature. But it has even the playing field, because no agent can show a house without the written agreement. And that agreement can be for one house, or it can be for a specific house, or it can be for a period of time, or it can be exclusive for a period of time. But it evened the playing field, because honestly, the buyer-broker agreements always have existed. It just not many real estate brokers and agents have exercised them.
I completely agree with you. It is, it's a really good thing for my business, for sure.
And for everybody else's, frankly.
Yeah.
Because now you can't really have anybody undercut each other as much as they used to be able to.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a good thing. I've heard rumors, nothing official, that they might do away with it, which is kind of funny how they did. They tried to do away with the lev letter, the appeal letter to the seller.
Right.
But that did get overturned as well. Those elements, I feel like, are, like you said, something that you always have to be a part of, and in the industry, and listening to what the changes are. I mean, just the forms, for example, have changed so much. Rates. I mean, I'm obviously always calling you to ask you what do you think's going to happen with rates this next year?
Let me pull a crystal ball out. I mean, realistically, the rates were actually trending down until the Iran thing happened. And now we've gone in the opposite direction. Nonetheless, the overall trend will be back to down once all the geopolitical fears settle, once the price of oil goes back down. So there is no reason for the rates to trend up other than the fear porn in the markets and in the media.
What are they saying? Low sixes throughout this year? Or?
Low sixes throughout this year. Most likely somewhere high fives next year. So fingers crossed, because every time, what they say, every time the rates drop by 1%, that's extra 5 million eligible buyers can be attracted to the market. It doesn't mean that all of them will, but that's potentially 5 more million people who could afford a lower rate, and that's a significant number.
About that, let me ask you, do you recommend your clients lock in their rate, or do you kind of play it by what's happening geopolitically during that transaction with your crystal ball?
It's actually an amazing question. And look at you flipping the table and asking me questions on my own show. But it depends. There is, unfortunately, in my realm, there is no cut and dry a lot of the time. It's, I'd say 3 weeks ago, the advice was let's float, let's not lock, let's get closer to the closing date and see where it takes us as the rates were trending down, because every day the cost of the rate has gone down incrementally. Now, pretty much I would advise everybody just lock outright if you're happy with the rate, and unfortunately we'll look at refinancing down the pike. But that could change on a dime. It really all depends on the client's tolerance, because some people don't want to risk it one way or the other. And when the rate is locked, it protects you both ways, both from rate going up and from rate going down. So if you lock today and the rates get lower, well, oops. But if the rates go up, you're staying pretty. So there is really no one size fits all. It really is an individual risk tolerance for every single consumer, just like going fixed rate or going a 5-1 or a 7-1 or a 10-1 ARM is. Some people have the tolerance, some don't. But it's worth having the conversation.
Yeah, just curious.
No, that's a great question, actually, and it's a very timely question for that matter. So back to the Portland market. What I'm hearing is, and what I'm seeing is that the homes, let's say it's not the entry-level home that gets umpteen offers on it. Let's say it's actually a home that's priced on the market, again, not your entry-level point. What is the likelihood of that home selling fast versus not, and what drives that? Well, so 2 questions in one.
Okay, that's a likelihood and what drives it. Excellent question. We had talked about entry-level homes, those being very hot. COVID interest rates locked a lot of people in those, less than 3%.
The lock-in effect.
The lock-in effect. And we're starting to see that break loose a little bit. You could see, yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes. And it's just starting. It's just starting. You could see that with the amount of inventory we have in the Portland metro right now.
So how much has the inventory changed?
It has changed a lot. I mean, gosh, I remember a time when we were hovering about 2 months inventory, less than 3 months inventory. And then
versus the balanced market is what?
6 months.
So anything below 6?
Anything below 6.
Is the seller's market?
Is a seller's market, essentially. But Portland's got such a small urban growth boundary line.
I know.
That I don't know when we've ever seen a balanced market.
I can remember one actually for probably going back a whole 20 years.
Yeah. This is actually more inventory than we've seen in 15 years. I would say January, we were hovering over 4 months inventory at the beginning of the year. I feel like several listings went off the market during the holidays and then relisted in January. So that's why we saw that influx in inventory.
Oh, you mean there was others who did what I did?
Yeah. A lot of homes did that. But then if you look at February's numbers, it dropped down to, I think it was 3.6 months. So huge decline. But the pending sales from 2025 to 2026 are up 10%.
That's interesting.
It is an interesting stat. It really is. But I mean, back to, those lock-in rates, I think what's happening is those first-time home buyers that were there, they're not wanting to move up, because usually we would see, this 6, maybe or 7, 8 $100,000 homes be a second home, but a lot of people are kind of just staying put in their
second
first
is
home.
a move up home,
Yes.
not a second home.
Not second home that way. Not like the second home I'd like to have in Arizona, but the
We
second
can make it happen. Just say the word.
Yes. No, the second home as in like move up home. Yeah. But we are still starting to see that shake loose. I mean, really right now is probably it's the most affordable time for a buyer right now to purchase, at least in the Portland metro.
I heard an interesting statistic lately is that even with the lock-in effect, which is loosening up pretty much everywhere, but now there's actually more people with interest rates at 6 or above
Oh, yeah.
than there is people at 3 or below.
I did hear that too.
Which is crazy to me, but that also, I think, spells good news for the market, because that means that there will be more homes on the market coming up, because again, those people who are locked in at the 3s will eventually shake free, and the people in the 6s will still exercise the move up or down depending on their family needs. What do you think?
I think that's spot on. I really do think that's what we'll see happen. It is an interesting stat though. And I wonder if it's just time that, so many new people have bought a home since 2021 or 2022. Because rates got into the 6s, late 2022 or early 2023?
Early 20, so they started climbing somewhere past March of 2022. And that climb was ridiculously fast and ridiculously steep.
I remember.
We went from the 2s to the 3s to the 4s to the 5s. Yeah. And then we ended up in the 8s in 24, 25, a couple of times. So that was pretty nutty. I haven't seen the 8s since, good God, I think the only 2 times I've seen the 8s. When I first got in the business in 96, the rates were above 8. And Will did the happy dance in the office when the rates dropped below 8. I mean, we literally danced in the office. I mean, that was, I want to say, mid-96. And then if my memory doesn't deceive me, in 03, we also saw a pretty sharp increase in rates, but not to the 8s. So I want to say there's only been 3 times at most in my 30-year career that I've seen the rates climb over 8%.
Wow.
Pretty insane.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been riding the wave for a while.
Roller coaster.
Yeah.
I think a wave is too nice of a description for
too sweet,
too smooth. It's been more of a choppy as hell roller coaster. Whatever goes up comes down, and vice versa. So it's been interesting. Yeah,
I mean, with that being said, too, that notion of those more 6s rates and buyers and sellers. Things shaking loose. I'm also interested to see what happens with all the new construction. I mean, the urban growth boundary line has been expanded, and they are building so many homes. Both out, past the Tigard, Sherwood area.
Right. Everything past Springville and Bethany has been built up, and it's like massive new build cities.
And Gresham too. Yeah.
Hillsborough. What is it? The biggest planned urban development out in Hillsborough.
Reed's Crossing. Yep. Yeah. That is. There's a ton of homes out there.
But the price points are insane.
The price points are still insane. Yeah. I wonder at what point that we'll see. But really, looking at it like holistically, the West Coast in general is expensive.
Yes.
And the Portland metro still is, the most affordable city to buy in.
Even at the prices that it has or it commands.
Not the price.
It's still the most affordable city on the West Coast, which is kind of actually scary.
It is. Well, I don't think we're seeing home values decreasing. We're just we're just leveling out on the acceleration. So it's just decelerating. But I really do feel like homeownership and, equity that the buyers have, homeowners have, they're only going to increase.
I believe in that. I mean, I've always said when people tell me I don't ever believe in the Chicken Little, sky is falling, the fear porn from the Susie Ormans of the news, because it's always like, when was Susie Orman actually positive about the real estate or housing market?
True.
Like, throw me an example in the comments, please, if you can find one, because in all the years that she's been around, I've never seen or heard anything positive when it came to buying a home come out of her, or finances for that matter. But fear sells. So I always say that whenever the price growth slows, that's kind of like you're going 100 miles an hour on the freeway, but you're not hitting a hard stop. You're slowing down to like 50 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour. You're still moving forward, just not as fast. So the 20% appreciation growth that we saw during the 2 crazy COVID years, that was unsustainable. And it wasn't normal. So yeah, it's normal for the prices to taper, but to all the people who say the prices will fall and, the market will, crash, collapse, whatever, give me a good reason why.
Yeah, those dear buyers or clients, hopeful clients. I really, I know several of them.
Same.
Yeah. I wish there was something that, some kind of like tangible hope that I could give them that, that they could grasp onto, because it's like they're watching the market change every day, and they have been for years. And it's like, why do you think for some reason that all of a sudden prices are just going to crash? Like, they haven't.
They're not going to.
They're not going to. Yeah.
I mean, realistically, for those who try to argue with me, and okay, it is a personal opinion, but it's also a personal opinion based on 30 years of experience, based on having watched last 30 years of the markets, based on the historical data, that there were only 2 instances in all of 100 years of history looking back, 30 of them mine, is there were only 2 times when the home values crashed in the last 100 years. And that was on most recent memory. That was 2007 through 2010 or 2011 housing collapse. Well, it wasn't really a housing collapse. It was actually caused by the backroom dealings on Wall Street. Let's call it what it is. It wasn't necessarily the housing. It was the financial machinations with the markets, the repeal of Glass-Steagall Act, and so many other economic and historical factors, but not the housing market itself. And then the one before it was the oil and gas crisis in the 80s. The rest of the time, tracking back to the Great Depression of 1929, the home values have always gone up, especially throughout the recessions. Don't believe me? Look up the Fred stats. Fred is the St. Louis Fed office that puts out all kinds of fun statistics, and that's one of them, that the home prices, home values have actually gone up in the recessions, as opposed to down, which is contrary to popular belief. So with home values never coming back down, what makes people think that they will crash? I mean, everything has gone up. The cost of labor, the cost of materials, the cost of gas, everything, literally. So again, when it costs you more to build a home today, how would the values go down? Like, where's the logic in that? Just a little bit of logic.
Yeah.
Goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. And I feel like just like there's a person out there for everyone, I feel like there's a home out there for everyone. There's a mortgage loan product out there for everyone.
Almost.
Yeah. You just have to you just have to want it.
Basically, you have to want it more than we want it for you.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we do have occasionally a buyer where we want the end result more for their sake than they want for themselves.
Yeah, I could see that. I am very busy these days, which I love. I love that. So I was going to say, I don't have time to chase down people like that.
And it's actually okay to say.
Yeah.
And because what most people don't understand is that with the buyer broker agreements and whatever pieces of paper you may sign to hire an agent to work with you. And with us, mortgage people, we can't hold your feet to the fire, actually. None of us get paid until closing.
Yes.
So essentially, we're working for you for free. So yes, it is okay. It's not harsh. Not in my book anymore. But it's not harsh to say that you don't have time to chase everybody. Same with me, because we have to dedicate our time, which all we got is time. We have to dedicate our time and do best by the clients who want it the most.
Absolutely.
Who are the most serious and the most dedicated. This is not to say that we don't work with people to do their long-term home buying planning. We do. If you're of the belief that the sky is falling, housing market is going to crash, then we kind of not going to dedicate as much time to you, because time is all we got.
Yeah.
And this is not being mean.
No, it's not. And there's definitely a difference. Like you said, there's a difference between somebody who's waiting for the market to crash and somebody who just might not be ready. And I love meeting people where they are in terms of like, even if it's a year or two. I have a family.
That's the best kind, though.
It is.
Because we can lay out a plan. I call it the yellow brick road. And we can get them ready. And they will make less mistakes than somebody who's jumping into the deep end of the pool. Like, I want to buy right now. I found a perfect house. But then it turns out after the fact that they're actually not ready financially. So that avoids a lot of heartache.
I had some clients I met, it was a little over 2 years ago. Sweet family, the cute little boy. I think he was just maybe 2 years old at the time. And we went shopping. They got some quotes on loans, and just they weren't comfortable with their monthly mortgage payments. They said, well, I'd like to save. They want to save up some money. So they did. And they called me. We stayed in touch, and they closed on their very first home. I saw their little boy. He was so big. He wasn't a toddler anymore. And it was just, probably one of the greatest joys that I get to experience is that story.
At the end of the day, we're not saying, or what I said earlier about, our time is what we got. Yes. And yes, we do get paid at the end of the transaction, but it doesn't mean that the paycheck is all that it's important to us. Because in my practice, and I know in Rochelle's practice, there are people who all they see is not a consumer, not a client, but a paycheck. I have never treated my clients like that. I know Rochelle doesn't treat her clients like that. We help our clients after the closing. They feel comfortable reaching out to us after the transaction has been over for a year, like Anika did.
Yes.
Because they know that we care about their well-being more so than about the sale. But again, there's only so many working hours in a day.
Yeah.
And yes, we don't get paid until it's done. We do have families to support. We just don't look at you, our clients, as a walking, talking bag of money or a paycheck. That's the big difference.
No. I think what a rewarding, aspect of this job, and I'm sure for you too, is getting to know people and their story, and helping them achieve their goals, and getting to have like a friendship,
long-term
friendship afterwards. Yeah,
absolutely. So, what is not moving in the Portland area? Circling back to that, what is moving and what is not hopping?
Well, I would say, so since there is so much inventory, I would say buyers are very picky right now. We're seeing homes that, if they're on a busy street, if there is not a yard, if their kitchen needs to be updated, just if there is one blemish on the checklist, we're seeing those sit. But if the home is priced correctly, it has a yard, it's not on a busy street, it's been updated, those are definitely still selling.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. So Portland, the market is not crashing, contrary to popular belief. It is still the underpriced major city of the West Coast, just like it has been for the last umpteen years. Yes, the values have gone up. Yes, the prices have gone up. And a lot of people have been unfortunately priced out. But that's where elections have consequences, and the suppression of the urban growth boundary for so many years has played its role in rising prices. So when you complain to us about the prices going up or the values increasing, well, we didn't create it. At the end of the day, not our fault. So what you can do, though, to help yourself get into a home,
I would say start off with talking with myself and Ella. Ella can definitely help you with getting your, finding out what you qualify for, or if there's stuff you need. A lot of people have stuff, that they need to work on and coming up with that game plan. And then, I would say stop ordering Uber Eats and maybe.
And having a Starbucks every morning.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
buy an espresso machine, please.
Yes.
You'll save yourself a lot of money.
Or the $700 car payment. I mean, I've seen those, client comes, I really want to buy a house. I do really well financially. And it's like, wait, how much is your car payment?
Deep sigh.
Yes. Yes.
Deep sigh.
Yes. Drive your Toyota Corolla until, you close on your house.
Fall off.
Yes. Yes. And
even if you can't afford that nice car, but Rochelle is right.
Yeah.
I mean, wait until after you close on the house because you put the car first. It's like horse cart, in this case, house, car. You put the car first, you may never be able to get the house you want. You want the house first, then buy the nice car.
I went to my son's apartment just recently, and there was somebody with a Cybertruck there, and I'm like, "What?" And it's for that. Yeah, I laugh.
Well, and that's actually a long-term renter.
Yeah.
Because that Cybertruck came in before the court.
Yes.
That was actually amazing advice.
Yeah.
And that is something that I've been preaching for ages now, is that if you even think about buying a home down the pike, it's never too early. You want to start talking to the right professionals outright. You want to talk to Rochelle. You want to talk to me. And I try to align myself with like-minded people like myself. I never pressure. I never push.
Same.
Rochelle never pressures and never pushes.
No.
And that's one of the reasons we've hit it off so well.
Yeah.
We communicate. We over-communicate. We keep our clients on the loop. And we'll continue doing that for many years to come.
Love working with you for that reason.
Right back at you. And if you're looking for a home, especially on the west side of Portland, Rochelle is your girl. And if you're looking for a mortgage, hit me up. And with that, if you have any questions about the Portland market, leave us a comment. Leave us your feedback. We'd love to hear it. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Thank you.